Okay, guys, let's do dating questions, depression questions, whatever you guys already asked. But stuff in depth, bro, because my brother and I are the types that we never chill together for small talk. I don't think when we chill together, it's
just so they know who I am, guys. I'm Eden. If you don't know me,
right.
I'm a clinical psychotherapist. I have my own practice here in Vancouver.
Yeah.
It's
not Heal Mike, guys. We've got someone professional for the website.
Correct.
And I've been fucking asking him for years to do it, but now that I'm rich as fuck.
But now I'm in a position where I am able to do it, because when I first started my career as a clinical psychotherapist, I was working government job. I had to only be validating, yes, whatever you believe is exactly correct. Right. I hated it. I hated my life. I wasn't helping people. I was making money to tell people exactly what they're experiencing is the way they should be living. Imagine that.
But they force you.
Yeah.
What do you mean? How do they force
top-down push from government agencies? The validation was the priority for them.
Oh.
And I left that. I started my own practice. I said, I want to help people the way for the money that I'm charging, I want to be able to sleep well at night and say, at least, I didn't just feed into their sickness or mental illness or whatever.
And Chet, he is the one who opened my eyes, because I had this hunch when I was a fucking kid talking to counselors in school. He's the one who told me most therapists will say, sometimes you just got to give yourself a hug.
Yeah.
When he told me this as an adult, I had a fucking panic attack, because I'm like, you know how many people have
I had a client who paid, imagine the rates that therapists charge, paid for a full hour session, and the only thing the therapist said back to them was, you need to give yourself a hug.
How did you know they said that, though? Oh, they told you.
My client told me their experience with a previous therapist. They said, I didn't see a therapist for another 7 years. Imagine then, they felt like they had nowhere to go. They could not go to another therapist.
So that means,
because that was their last experience, paying $250, and somebody tells you, give yourself a hug.
You know what bothers me is, like, I don't want to do this, but how many people have killed themselves because of those kind of things?
I worry, because counseling for a lot of people is the last resort for them, right? They think, okay, I'm putting all my hope into this. Everybody tells me I have to seek mental health counseling, psychotherapy. They go in and the guy tells you that, and you think, oh shit, I have no fucking chance. There's nobody out there to help.
How do you scout for a good therapist?
It would be very difficult. You'd have to find somebody who you can tell has not been politicized, or who's not just projecting the same stuff. If they're willing to take risks, that's the therapist.
Dr. K? What do you think of Dr. K?
I haven't seen him.
Oh, you haven't seen him? Basically,
I saw one clip where
he does stoke emotion in them, bro. It's a little evil. Chat, am I fucking crazy? Or I swear to God, he doesn't decelerate them when people cry. He wants the clip.
Yeah, but you shouldn't do that anyway. You should be able to get the person emotionally activated.
But there's part of me thinks the narcissism of the influencer wants to cry in front of their chat. So he lets that happen. But it is weird. Pokimane, whoever was on his thing, they would randomly, not even talk about anything deep, start revealing too much, and then they'd all cry. Like, every single one of them cried. And I'm like, if I was on Dr. K, would I fucking cry? Like, how people have never cried on the internet before, and they're not telling anything like dark. They're just saying what they're dealing with that week, and then they just start tearing up and stuff. And I'm like, that's terrifying that it's like, hi, I'm a therapist, and then you just start crying.
Yeah, I'm actually sympathetic to that, because it means that they're putting on a persona. These people that you're describing, Pokimane, is probably putting on such a strong persona that given the space with the therapist to be able to talk about this stuff, even the idea of being able to express yourself was too much for her. Which speaks to a lot of it, but
this is what we need. I'm way too extreme and angry. We need a calmer, rational mind. And I love it that you don't give, like, I love Sneeko and Andrew Tate's funny and all that, but when they say, if you're depressed, just do push-ups, and they're getting backlash, but the 80% of their market that they make money from is on their side. They're like, yeah, you got to do push-ups. And in my head, I'm like, you've always given me masculine answers, but you've never given me something that stupid. And I don't want to even fucking clip it. I don't want to attack Sneeko, but he got it from Andrew Tate. If you're just depressed, or depression doesn't exist, which to me sounds like, and through a Christian perspective, it's kind of like, there's no devil type shit. But I like how they say you can't catch depression like a cold. But when they say, if you're depressed, just I like that, hey, if you're inactive, get active. You're depressed, you're inactive, get active. But if you're depressed to do push-ups, I keep thinking of a dude who lost his whole family in a car crash watching Sneeko, and then he goes, like, what the fuck, Sneeko? Right? And I used to just attack Sneeko on this, but now I learned to kind of like, my friends will say stupid shit. It is what it is. I hate it though, because it's kind of like telling the world I've been sad, I haven't been depressed. People have been depressed. The funniest part is, Chad, people have been depressed, and a lot of them agreed with the push-ups. They said it worked for me. And so we don't want to knock that placebo. Right. But to me, depression calls out and screams in my head for the individuation process of who the fuck are you?
Yeah.
And I love, bro, I kind of love social media for one thing. Is like, oh, I'm Zherka. I'm that fucking, oh, I feel cozy. But if I open my social media and who am I? Yeah. Do I play basketball? Am I a stoner? Do I get this week got in? Like, everyone knows who the fuck, I'm the most individuated motherfucker ever. Depression can't even touch me anymore. So I imagine I started having a mental breakdown. Yeah.
In a nutshell, the antidote, the cure to anxiety, depression, personality disorders, trauma is identity. In 99% of cases that
I've seen, does no one say it?
It's been
why identity. Does no Peterson dance around it?
But it depends. It depends because if you've experienced trauma and you develop depression, is what we would refer to as a secondary process, which means that the depression, it doesn't exist in a vacuum. It exists as a result of the trauma. Then it's a matter of
explain that. Doesn't exist in a vacuum.
Depression is not endogenous. It's not neurotransmitters in the mind. It's not a lack of serotonin. That's a ridiculous concept. There's no evidence to prove that.
Oh shit! You're saying that. I say the chemicals are stupid. You're saying that
it's ridiculous. SSRIs, the antidepressants.
It's big pharma shit, right?
Big pharma, and it's, I think, effective in 30% of individuals. 30. Those are placebo numbers. 30%.
Oh shit!
So you have as good of a chance doing push-ups as you do with taking antidepressants like fluoxetine or venlafaxine, whatever it may be.
I always say, when you're dealing with an identity,
depression is psychology, not physiology.
And now, how many people actually don't kill themselves because they get on drugs? Do they have those studies?
Oh, like on antidepressants?
Like that 30% is on antidepressants?
But what I'm saying is that the numbers are no different from
placebo. To me, when these guys say I'm on antidepressants or whatever, I'm like, what's that like? They're like, it just kills. It kills who you are. And I'm like, if depression is about I don't know who I am, and these drugs are killing who you are, dude, this is like how to fucking kill yourself the fastest way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like, I would say this: who completed? Can you find depression in a man who has a mastery over something? Very rare, but when you do find it in a Hollywood elite and they kill themselves, or a Lincoln Park, whatever, they love to, the collective unconscious loves to spring this out and say, he had a Ferrari and killed himself. Like that's the norm. Like even if you have a Ferrari, you're going to, bro, that is like 0.00. It's got to be. There's no way fixing the money problem doesn't solve a bunch of issues. It did for me. Bro, I remember going on dates when I'm like just not in debt, but tipping in there. And I remember I hated my partner. I hated her. I wanted to fucking, bro. I want to save money in prison so I don't have to pay for rent. So I'm thinking to myself, like, am I the only one who thinks that fixing the money issue is huge? Right, but the biggest issue is those guys who have the money.
It's not the money; it's a sense of feeling in control.
And control comes from,
if you have money, you have the ability to affect the sense of autonomy you have over your life, the sense of agency, the sense of, oh, I can do what I want, I can pursue the values that I have. In psychology, what we talk about is this concept around congruence. We live in two worlds. We live in an internal world and an external world. Your internal world are your values, principles, boundaries, whatever it may be. The external world is your interactions, your relationships.
Are those parental, the values? Where do we get them?
Well, I'll get to that in a second, but the idea is...
I'll fucking cop out. I'll get that to in a second.
You're trying to reconcile the internal and the external world. And I talk about this with all my clients. It's probably the most important concept in counseling in psychology. If you're incapable of manifesting or fulfilling the values that you have, you will be depressed. There's a friction between those two worlds. I would argue that's what depression is. It's an inability to fulfill the internal world in the world that you live in. It's inability to reflect that world and project it onto.
I think the scariest thing is when the monetary gain doesn't individuate you. So, for example, if you made millions playing Minecraft, you don't feel the success when you're sitting next to your girl. Yeah. Your girl looks at you like, Minecraft?
Because you've done no real work.
Yeah, and they love scars and trauma on a guy. They love like, oh, you're individuated. You have scars. You've been through this. But that's a terrifying place. Or these guys who they become accountants, make a bunch of money, but they don't focus on the woman that is in their life, and they come home to her getting beat, or she cheats on them. And in my head, this guy's cracking up over here. He's trying to stay professional. He's a big boy. Where do you think you are, bro? Fucking he's in a suit and tie. But yo, chat, I'm telling you, if you lean towards money, your cheats on you. If you lean towards, they leave you because you don't have money. This is a fucking.
Well, it depends the purpose.
And anyone who's
chasing money to escape, you will not be happy. You will stay depressed.
What do you mean escape?
If you chase money to escape the life you have, if you're not doing any identity work, if you're not pursuing...
No, the career should be identity work, in my opinion.
It should not be.
Well, but you can have a career separate to who you are? That's terrifying.
It's a very Western concept.
Like, no, the Western concept is the individual. Like, I sell shotguns because I'm a right-wing American. Yes, that's healthy. But if I sell Hello Kitty and then go play with shotguns, there's fucking conflicting forces here, bro. But I know what you're saying. You're saying that a computer nerd can come home and be a badass?
I'm saying you should be trying to fulfill the value systems that you have.
Give an example.
What I'm saying is, if you have two worlds, right?
I'm a Christian.
Yeah, you will never be happy.
Fucking you will never. Hell, bro, he's doing it to me, Chad. This is what they do to me.
There's such an incongruence between the things that you espouse and the way you act that you'll never be happy. There's too much friction between those two worlds. You'll always feel guilty. You'll always feel a sense of questioning yourself, a sense of...
I always question if I didn't open the portal of OnlyFans women, big voluptuous women, hang in there. If I didn't open that portal, who the fuck would I be? And then I think of no streaming career, no nothing. But I might be a calm guy, happy married, but it wouldn't have that rock star shine to it. But look at rock stars. They're not that happy. So it's like feels like a Faustian bargain. Feels like, ooh, do you know the story of Faust? Yeah. All right, questions, guys. And guys, if we're they never interrupt Spiz, bro. Because, bro, where did you guys think I learned my Spiz from him? And okay,